Mommy and Daddy's divorced, and a divorced mom pretty much got nothing. I'm not going to leave my mom by herself. So I'm going to make sure my mother's taken care of. None of my siblings have helped me take care of my mother to make sure she was okay, except for Tamar. No one said,
this is before Vincent.
Before Vincent. Mommy's car insurance is due. Let's help Toni with Mommy car insurance.
Or Mommy needs a car.
Normally, I would never have a conversation with Trina or any of my sisters about helping out financially with my mom. But because I'm so stressed in that category, I needed to let her know what I felt.
Chillin'. Let's be real for a second. Everybody who's been keeping up with the Braxtons knows exactly how this story goes. Toni Braxton was out here carrying that whole family on her back like a soldier, and it nearly broke her down. No joke, it drained the life out of her, and some folks even believe the pressure she was under might have triggered her autoimmune condition. And Tamar? Whew, she's been spilling lately. She's been out here saying that her big sis was under serious pressure and she actually feels bad for Toni. Like real bad. Cause sis had to file for bankruptcy twice, not once, twice. That ain't just tough, that's heartbreaking. But now the streets are buzzing about a whole other situation. People out here whispering that Toni may have married Birdman and turned around to file for divorce 2 days later, just for the check. Like, did she really do that just to stack some coins? Cause baby, that's the word flying around, and we're diving deep into that mess. Now here's what most folks don't even realize. Toni Braxton might be a living legend, but behind the scenes, sis was out here barely making enough to cover her bills. She had the fame, the Grammys, and the massive record sales, but her bank account was looking real different. Despite her blowing up and making over $170 million in sales for her label, Toni had to file for bankruptcy multiple times. That's wild.
Toni was upset with me. I was told the devil was breaking up our family, the devil was raging, so it was a bad thing. My sister Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying it.
Toni straight up said that while Arista LaFace, the record label, was making millions off her back, she was getting crumbs. We're talking about someone who sold over 70 million albums, won multiple Grammys, and still couldn't even keep up with the lifestyle she earned. She got her start in the late 80s singing with her sisters in the Braxtons, but when she went solo in '93, woo, she blew up. Her debut album, Toni Braxton, hit #1 on Billboard 200 and sold 10 million copies like it was nothing. And let's not forget the hits. Breathe Again, another sad love song. Those tracks were everywhere. Then came her second album, Secrets, and when Unbreak My Heart dropped, Game Over. That single sold 10 million copies worldwide and became one of the biggest heartbreak anthems ever. We're talking about a powerhouse, a whole icon who got played dirty by her own record label. And if they could treat Toni Braxton like that, imagine what they're doing to artists who don't even have a name yet, straight up messed up. Toni eventually had enough and hit her label with a lawsuit, but back in January 1998, she had already filed for bankruptcy. And when the real details came out, whew, it was ugly. Toni said her contract was so bad that she ended up with less than $2,000 in royalties after selling millions. And to make it worse, she had to pay the label back for everything. Clothes, travel, studio time, even music video costs. Like, what kind of setup was that? At one point, things got so messy that Toni was even accused of transferring $53,000 to her ex-husband, Kerry Lewis, just to dodge paying off her creditors. People started whispering that she was trying to protect her money, but honestly, that whole situation sounded desperate and sad. Then boom, she had to file for bankruptcy again in 2010.
People don't understand, my second bankruptcy was because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover it.
The insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Yeah.
And so
that's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money to put up a show. People don't understand this. If you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage. The artist pays for all that. The hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing left over.
But this time, it wasn't just money. Toni had been diagnosed with microvascular angina and lupus. That forced her to cancel her major Las Vegas residency, and y'all know that kind of contract brings in serious cash. So yeah, her health literally cost her her bag. But the drama didn't stop there. In 2019, the IRS came knocking. On December 4th, they slapped her with a lien saying she owed $340,252.99 in back taxes from 2017. Just a few days later, California jumped in too. The Franchise Tax Board added their own lien, claiming she owed another $116,154.64. That's almost $500,000 in back taxes, just gone like that. And while all this chaos was going on, Toni was still taking care of the whole family. She was the breadwinner, holding it down for everyone. But here's the kicker. Toni said Trina and Tawanda were demanding to be paid for working with her, while Tamar was out here helping cover bills without asking for a dime. That's loyalty right there. Toni wasn't mad at the idea of paying her sisters, but she expected a little understanding. Like she was already keeping the lights on for everybody, and they still wanted to get paid like she was some big corporation. Wild. Toni really thought that if she was out here paying her sisters, the least they could do was help take care of their mama or handle a few things around the house. But nope. They didn't lift a single finger, like not even a little bit. It's wild how she was out here doing everything while the rest just chilled. All that pressure, it straight up drained her. The only one who really stepped up was Tamar. Yup. Tamar, the one always caught in some drama with the family. Turns out she was the only one who actually tried to help Toni hold things down at home. Say what you want about her, but that's facts. Now let's talk about Birdman. Word on the street was that they started seeing each other around 2016. And in a 2018 interview, Toni spilled some real tea about their relationship, and it was way deeper than folks thought. She said they had been tight for 15 or 16 years, like real friends. He was at her baby showers, her plays, her shows, all of it. But romance, she didn't see it coming. Toni said, "He's been my bestie for like 15 or 16 years. He has come to my baby showers, my plays, my shows. I never thought we would be dating or getting married." And then she added something that really hit. It's comforting to have someone tell you it's okay to be ill and that you don't have to be Wonder Woman at all times. Every single time she had a show, he'd show up and ask her, "Are you okay? You good?" That kind of loyalty is rare. And when Birdman finally shot his shot, he told her he had always liked her. Toni was shook. She said, "You never told me?" And he hit her with, "Well, you were married." Then he straight up admitted, "I was always digging on you."
I kind of think it's mine a little bit,
Wow.
a little bit.
And then on top of that, when we
Nothing.
do shows, you still charge her. I don't charge her. When the last time have I charged you for a show?
Tamar
It's
has
been
been charging
years.
for show for years. My sister Tamar never charges me to do background singing for me. My sister Trina does. My sister Tawanda, she's an executive assistant. That makes sense for her to get a salary. I just wish every situation was not about Toni's savings and loans.
I have never charged Toni. And what I'm saying is it pissed me off. When I saw that you and Tawanda get paid, I was pissed off.
In that same interview, Toni opened up about the pain and exhaustion that came with living with lupus, especially with the constant fear of blood clots and pulmonary embolisms. She said it was mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausting. But with Birdman, she never had to fake it. She said, "I can get on television when I'm having a terrible day and tell them it's a good day, and he'll say, 'No, it's not, I can tell.'" Toni admitted she'd always struggled dating because of her illness. She felt ashamed, like no one would want to deal with it. But with Birdman, she could chill, throw on a Scully or a little hat with some mascara and just be herself. She said it made her feel free. So yeah, Birdman did pop the big question, and Toni said yes. She even posted up some flicks from the moment, captioning them, "A couple minutes before we got engaged." And just 24 hours later, the internet was buzzing. One pic showed the two of them cheesing in a selfie, and the other, Toni had that massive rock on full display, no hiding it. Birdman was in his feelings too. He hit up Wendy Williams' show and was all emotional, calling Toni his love, his soldier, his life, his everything. He said, "I love her to death." He was all in, no holding back. Now Toni, on her end, opened up about how real it was getting. She said they almost had a wedding date, actually two, but they were filming Braxton Family Values at the time, and of course the family was knee-deep in drama. Toni thought maybe a wedding would be the thing to bring all the sisters back together, but that didn't exactly work out, because she said she just couldn't get everybody in the same room. Even with all that, Toni was excited about saying, "I do." She said, "This is my second wedding and I'm over 40. It's like Carrie Bradshaw, the last bride over 40. And sis wanted to do it up right this time. No more big poofy princess dress. This time she was going for something sleek, vintage, and a lil sexy, real 1920s Great Gatsby vibes. And the food, that had to match the style too. Toni said Birdman had one big request, mac and cheese. She joked and said, "Can we do mac and cheese balls to keep it pretty?" It was giving classy with a twist. As for the location, Birdman wanted California. They thought about Atlanta for a minute, but he shut that down real quick. He told Toni he didn't want any memories of her first wedding around. He wanted their own fresh start, clean slate and all, but the wedding never actually happened. Toni later said they kept pushing the date back because of her busy schedule. Work commitments, travel, appearances, you name it. But you already know people had opinions. A lot of folks were saying she was just coming up with excuses. Because when you really want to marry somebody, you make it happen, period. But here's where things got real weird. After all that public love, big talk, and sparkly engagement rings, Toni and Birdman suddenly started acting real low-key. Like, 1 minute they're everywhere, next minute, crickets. Fans started noticing that Toni had stopped posting about him. No photos, no shout-outs, nothing. And just like that, rumors started flying that they had quietly called it quits. Then in early 2019, boom. Toni accidentally posts a cryptic message talking about starting over and trusting the process. People were like, wait, is she single now? And not long after that, Birdman wiped his entire Instagram clean and dropped a post saying, it's over, no names, no tags, but everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. But here's the catch, they never officially confirmed the breakup. A few weeks later, they popped back up together at Toni's sister's birthday bash like nothing ever happened, hugged up, smiling, acting like they didn't just confuse half the internet. And at that point, fans were done trying to figure it out. Were they on, off, just vibing? No one really knew. Some folks started whispering that the whole relationship was more about image than love. Like maybe Birdman helped Toni out financially during her health issues, and she kept him close because he had her back when things got rough. Others thought it was a classic case of opposites attracting, but not lasting. And let's not forget, this was Birdman we're talking about, the same man known for being one of the most private, bossed-up dudes in the game. And Toni, she's Hollywood royalty, but real sensitive when it comes to her personal life. So maybe they were just too different to make it work in the long run. Still, people couldn't stop wondering, was the wedding ever really gonna happen? Or was it all smoke and mirrors? Even Tamar had joked once that she was tired of waiting for a wedding invite that never came.
You guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life. I love her to death.
There's no date.
There's no date. We almost had a date. Well, we had 2 dates, but we were doing Braxton Family Values, and we were going through a little drama, and I was like, okay, the wedding is a good thing to get all of us sisters together.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get us all together, and I said, the wedding's not a good reason because it's messing up my relationship a little bit. He's like, come on, Michelle, set a date. I know.
That's what he calls you?
Calls me Michelle. Doesn't call me Toni at all. That's my middle name, Toni Michelle.
Yeah. Set a date.
Set it. He said before the year's out, so I have, what, a couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
So he's 45, you're 51.
He's 49.
49.
The fans felt the same way, everybody rooting for them, but nobody really buying it anymore. At the end of the day, the whole Toni and Birdman saga turned into one big emotional roller coaster. It had love, loyalty, heartbreak, and just enough mystery to keep folks guessing for years. And we still don't know how it really ended. Now while Toni's love life had everybody confused, the family drama behind the scenes was straight up explosive. And if you thought the Braxton sisters kept it cute just for the cameras, think again, because off-screen it was way messier than folks realized. At one point, Toni even admitted she regretted doing reality TV with her family. She said it opened up wounds that probably should have stayed shut, and if you watched Braxton Family Values, then you know the show had more shade than a palm tree. Arguments, walkouts, sister versus sister, it was like every episode had somebody crying or storming off. And while the public loved watching the drama unfold, it actually started tearing the family apart. Toni was especially over it. She once said, "We look like we hate each other, and I don't want that energy." She was not wrong. Some episodes got so tense, fans were shocked they still talked at all. One of the biggest blow-ups came when Tamar got cut from the family's group chat and found out about it on TV. That led to a whole emotional meltdown, and from there, the relationship between Tamar and the rest of the family just got colder. Tamar felt betrayed, Toni tried to stay neutral, but even she admitted things had gone too far. And here's the kicker, money was always a silent problem in the background. Whether it was who got paid what, who was showing up to events, or who was putting in the real work, nothing ever felt equal. At one point, it was even rumored that one of the sisters was leaking private info to blogs just for a check. That's why when Toni kept to herself, people assumed she was just being distant, but really, sis was protecting her peace. She had already lost so much, her health, her money, even her marriage, and she wasn't about to let her own family drag her down any further. Even their mama, Miss Evelyn, stepped in and begged the girls to come back together as a unit. But with all that hurt, pride, and miscommunication in the way, that wasn't happening anytime soon. The Braxtons may have had talent and beauty, but behind all that glitz, the cracks were showing and not even Toni could glue it all back together. Now, while Toni was dealing with family tension and relationship roller coasters behind closed doors, she was fighting for her life, literally. Toni's battle with lupus wasn't just some headline, it was a full-blown war on her body, and it changed everything. She first revealed her diagnosis back in 2010, and at the time, most people had no clue what lupus even was. But this autoimmune disease, it ain't no joke. It causes chronic pain, fatigue, and can mess with your heart, lungs, and even your kidneys. And for someone like Toni, who built her career on performing night after night, this was devastating. She'd show up to concerts looking flawless, but what fans didn't see was the pain she was pushing through just to get on stage. And when the cameras stopped rolling, she was straight up collapsing in hotel rooms, hooked up to IVs, or rushing to the ER. She said it herself, she became a pro at faking being okay just to keep the show going. At one point, doctors even found something shocking during a routine lupus checkup. A major artery in Toni's heart was 80% blocked. She could have had a massive heart attack at any moment and wouldn't have even seen it coming. That shook her to the core. She had to undergo emergency heart surgery, and she didn't even want to tell the public at first. She was scared of how people would look at her, like she was weak. But eventually, she spoke out because she knew other women, especially black women, needed to hear it. Lupus doesn't just take your energy, it takes your confidence, your strength, your freedom. Even Birdman said he would look at her and just know when something wasn't right. She might smile for the world, but behind the scenes, her body was screaming for rest. And through all this, Toni was still trying to tour film shows and hold her family down. She didn't want pity, she wanted respect. She once said, "I didn't want lupus to define me, but I also didn't want to pretend I was invincible." That's the part people forget. Toni wasn't just fighting illness. She was fighting to keep her identity, her career, and her dignity all at once. Now, while Toni was dealing with family tension and relationship roller coasters behind closed doors, she was fighting for her life, literally. Toni's battle with lupus wasn't just some headline, it was a full-blown war on her body, and it changed everything. She first revealed her diagnosis back in 2010, and at the time, most people had no clue what lupus even was. But this autoimmune disease, it ain't no joke. It causes chronic pain, fatigue, and can mess with your heart, lungs, and even your kidneys. And for someone like Toni, who built her career on performing night after night, this was devastating. She'd show up to concerts looking flawless, but what fans didn't see was the pain she was pushing through just to get on stage. And when the cameras stopped rolling, she was straight up collapsing in hotel rooms, hooked up to IVs, or rushing to the ER. She said it herself, she became a pro at faking being okay just to keep the show going. At one point, doctors even found something shocking during a routine lupus checkup. A major artery in Toni's heart was 80% blocked. She could have had a massive heart attack at any moment and wouldn't have even seen it coming. That shook her to the core. She had to undergo emergency heart surgery, and she didn't even want to tell the public at first. She was scared of how people would look at her, like she was weak. But eventually, she spoke out because she knew other women, especially black women, needed to hear it. Lupus doesn't just take your energy, it takes your confidence, your strength, your freedom. Even Birdman said he would look at her and just know when something wasn't right. She might smile for the world, but behind the scenes, her body was screaming for rest. And through all this, Toni was still trying to tour, film shows, and hold her family down. She didn't want pity, she wanted respect. She once said, "I didn't want lupus to define me, but I also didn't want to pretend I was invincible." That's the part people forget. Toni wasn't just fighting illness, and she was fighting to keep her identity, her career, and her dignity all at once. Now here's where things went from dramatic to just plain bizarre. Right after all that love talk and wedding planning, Toni hit us with one of the strangest twists yet. She claimed she lost her $1 million engagement ring after it was stolen out of her checked luggage. Who even put something that valuable in checked bags? The whole thing smelled fishy, and folks were side-eyeing the story from jump. Then out of nowhere, boom! Birdman posted a cryptic "It's over" on his Instagram, just that, nothing else. And to make it louder, he wiped every single photo of Toni off his page like she never existed. No warning, no explanation, just gone. Meanwhile, Toni posted up looking red carpet ready in a striking red gown and captioned it, "Starting a new chapter isn't always an easy choice, but always choose to be chosen. Cheers to a new year." Whew! That sounded like a whole message wrapped in glam. But just when the internet thought the story was finished, surprise! Court docs leaked revealing that Toni and Birdman had actually secretly gotten married. Yup, you read that right. And get this, they used just their initials, TB and BW, trying to keep it on the low, but it didn't take much for folks to connect the dots. The documents said they got married on August 8th, and then separated 2 days later on August 10th. What kind of whirlwind was that? 2 weeks after that, Toni filed for divorce, calling the marriage irretrievably broken. But here's the plot twist. Just this past January 2025, Toni dismissed the divorce petition, and Birdman signed off on it too, meaning technically, they still might be legally married. Now everybody's confused. Fans don't know if they're off, on, or just keeping it complicated. Then came the whispers. Some folks are saying Toni might have tied the knot for financial reasons. And listen, with all her past money struggles, people were quick to jump to conclusions, and truth is, nobody really knows her motives. But given how deep in the red Toni's finances reportedly still are, and the fact that Tamar is allegedly still the only one helping her out, it makes the rumors hard to ignore. Still, it's wild to think she got married, separated in 48 hours, and might still be hitched behind the scenes. So now I gotta ask, do you think Toni married Birdman for love? Or was it all about the money? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to tell me how you feel about Toni carrying her entire family on her back for years. Cause this story, it's far from over.